MiddayNews.
Last year, when I went around to visit the candidates, I saw two students who really looked hungry before the second paper, and I offered them money to buy food. So I asked myself, why don't I try to feed all the candidates so that if there is any child whose performance will be affected because of hunger, that will be eradicated. And so I decided that this year I would attempt to feed all the candidates for the 5 days that they will be writing the exams.
And that's MP4 Iswajaman Thomas Ampim Nyako. Some of the students have been reacting.
Well, I find it quite interesting since especially that all that I've learned have come. And I'm sure my fellow students can also say that those who prepared well. So I think the paper was quite interesting. Almost around 90% of everything I learned come, and I'm sure I might pass. Because of the urgency of these papers, I'm sure many of my fellow students skipped their breakfast, and to be able to come and write an exam, one must regain his energy. The great thing for them to give us, so that we might be able to face their other people.
It was very good today. Everything we learned, thanks to God's grace, today we were able to write everything and teachers started.
So some students there in the eastern region. From there, let's head to the Ashanti region because some delays were recorded in some centers as officers from WAEC arrived late at the examination centers. A correspondent, Nanaya Ojima, reports that 104,942 candidates are sitting the examination in the region. He will join us for updates. But a supervisor at the Anglican SHS, Paul Ayamba, has been explaining the delay for 15 minutes of today's exams.
It did not have any negative effect, because it did not affect, it will not affect their time.
How?
Yes, I mean, it will not affect their writing time. It's only their break time that they may cut into it.
But what about the examination itself?
The examination, there will be no effect.
So let's head to the capital now, and Patricia Gasu has been touring some schools. Patricia joins us live with details. We understand you are currently writing their moral education paper. Patricia, you've been touring. What did you find? Hello, Patricia.
Hello, Anita.
You've been touring a number of schools in the Greater Accra region. What did you find?
Okay, the general atmosphere was calm, but when they finished the exams, I got the opportunity to speak to some of the children, some of the students actually, and then others were excited. That is the first time they are having to experience this particular thing. So they expressed joy, they were happy about it, what they were expecting came. But on the other end, others were not excited because they said what they were taught in school wasn't what they saw. Others were like, it's more or less like in quotes, apostles, because their teachers told them that whatever mock they write in class is way difficult than the BEC. But when they came, it was a different thing altogether. The questions were difficult, most especially the literature. They couldn't answer the questions. So they left some and then they did what they could.
It's interesting that Apostle swerves up till today. But really, speaking to WAEC officials and invigilators, has been incident-free so far, you would say?
Yes, please. It has been incident-free. Everything, today, because it's the first day, so everyone comported themselves and it was on point. But just that the questions, others complained that it was too difficult.
Patricia Gasu has been touring some schools in the Greater Accra region. So that's how BC started today. You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, Newmont Ghana Gold Limited and its engineering agent, DRA Ghana Limited, have been fined more than $2.5 million following an accident that killed 6 workers on site in April this year. That's not all. DRA Limited has also been banned from undertaking any construction project management on any mining sites in the country. These were part of recommendations by a committee tasked by the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry to investigate circumstances that led to the disaster. My colleague Fifi Kumsing has details of these recommendations and joins us in studio with them. So Fifi, what are the key points in this document?
First, Emifa, a bit of background on this. On the 7th of April 2018, what we know is that the management of Newmont Ghana Gold Limited, the Ahafo mine, reported an accident which resulted in multiple fatalities. In fact, we are told that 6 people were killed and so many other people were injured. Now, investigations were commenced into this. And in fact, these are the recommendations. 1, that Newmont Ghana Gold Limited, Ahafo shall suspend DRA Ghana Limited from all activities at the Newmont Ghana Gold Limited Ahafo for failure to ensure the absolute health, safety, and security of their contractor employee. We also have this one that DRA Ghana Limited, and in fact we are talking about the engineering agent of Newmont, DRA Ghana Limited shall be dismissed from undertaking any construction project management on any mining site in Ghana for their blunt disregard for safety. Also, DRA Ghana Limited shall be fined $10,000 for operating at the Ahafo mine site without mining services operation permit. Now, we also have the minister in this situation making further recommendations after the committee had submitted its report. And yes, and here it says that for their contribution to the accident and save the implementation of items 1 and 2 of the recommendations above, which I read earlier, by the government of Ghana, that is suspension and or revocation of operating license, DRA Ghana Limited is to pay an additional fine of $2 million, and Newmont Ghana Gold Limited is to pay an additional fine of $500,000. Also, Consa Ghana Limited, also linked to the same companies, is to pay an additional fine of $200,000.
Some recommendations, though, of course, we'll get more details from that task force committee recommendations in our subsequent bulletins. But elsewhere, 4 soldiers and some individuals claiming to be national security operatives have been arrested for kidnapping and demanding various sums of money from small-scale miners at Bekwai Dompoase in the Ashanti region. Love FM's Erastus Sasari Donko joins us on the line with details. So, Erastus, what are the details?
Well, we got hints this morning of the arrest of 8 people. 4 of them have been identified as military personnel, and 4 others claim to be operatives of national security sent from Flagstaff House. Now, we are learning that these 8 individuals armed with pistols were using one Land Cruiser Prado, GR 737216, which I'm looking at right now at the Central Police Head. What we did was quiet.
Erastus, we seem to be losing you along the line. Please position yourself and take your last sentence again. Not good enough. We'll have to re-establish a connection to Erastus Asari Donko. They're bringing us details on those 4 soldiers and some individuals claiming to be national security operatives who've been arrested for kidnapping and demanding various sums of money from some small-scale miners. Now, some drivers in the country say they are unhappy with a 10% increment in transport fares, explaining it will not make up for the rise in fuel prices and other administrative costs in providing service to the public. The 10% increment comes after fuel prices went up by 3% last week. The GPRTU is cautioning drivers against going beyond the approved rate. But a visit to the Odona station at Circle earlier today revealed drivers were dissatisfied with the new fares. My colleague Nancy Emefa Dradosi was at the Odona station and joins me in the studio. So Emefa, why are these drivers unhappy and what percentages were they actually expecting?
So when I spoke to a few of the drivers, they complain about the fact that over the years, the prices of fuel have shot up several times, but they have not been asked to increase their fares. And after all these years, the GPRTU comes back to tell them to just increase it by 10%. And this 10% represented about some 20% in most cases. And so they felt that it was really unfair, looking at the fact that things shoot up, spare parts, engine, tires, and all of that. So they're complaining about that. Most of them wanted it to be about 50% or 30%, MFA.
Increments now, because I'm to my 50%. So at 50% now, because CCA Bibiano, who can you tell CCA cities, I'll be 7 cities. So what I say, but wait only 20% a penny at the
The increment should have been 50% because to increase fares just by 20% is unfair. But what can we do? We would accept it in good faith. When price of fuel shoots up, it affects every aspect of our lives.
So I say, Ghana had the pair, Yatuma, a lowest fire driver for Well, but call be on so the same thing. No increasing, but increasing 1 city, 2 city. We be saying about catch us here 2 fuel. But you know you do fuel here, then 20 pesos depend on the man. So what you say?
Yaba lusukura, yaba yanda, yaba fanasa. The yana passenger no, so yaba fanasa na edi ayajuma.
So some drivers there. Now, MFA, you got the opportunity to ride in a trotro after a long while. Tell us about the passengers. Did you record any argument between drivers and passengers this time around?
In fact, when I got there, I was expecting to see the usual blows and fights you witness at the various stations. But unfortunately, things were calm. When I got to speak to some of the passengers, they told me that, 20 pesos is okay and that it doesn't hurt. They've increased fuel several times, and so 20 pesos wouldn't do anything to them. But let me quickly add that the station managers, when we got there, they were actually, in a hurry to go and explain themselves to passengers, thinking that we're going to experience the usual fight. Okay. But then nothing like that. There was a no-show.
Yeah, but I just knew that there would be an increment, but I didn't know when.
But are you okay with the price, Omojena?
Actually, you are in need, so you have to go by that. You know where you are going to, and you know what you are going to get there, so you can't even fight with them. Even if you fight with them, it's what they are taking. So we just have to compare with them and give it to them.
But have you calculated the 10% on the price that you are giving?
Actually, no, I've not calculated.
I'm going to Fanko.
How much is that?
Length is 5 cedis. Yeah. 5 cedis.
Are you aware of the increment in the price?
Aware. But I'm not aware, but if they've increased the fare, I'll be always ready to pay.
So that's MFA Jadosi's interaction with passengers and drivers. But the situation is not the same in other areas. Joy News' Faustina Safo monitored reactions by commuters and drivers on the Kaswa-Accra route and joins me in the studio as well. So Faustina, how are they reacting to the news of hiking transport fares?
Thank you, MFA. They are not happy about it. They're saying that they've been charged more than 10%. Now, previously from Kaswa to Seko, you would be charged 3 cedis, 70 pesos. Now they're charged 4 cedis, 20 pesos, and that's a 50 pesos increment. Now, that is more than 10%, that's 13%. Previously, if you're coming from Kaswa to Nima, it's charged, they would take 4 cedis, 20 pesos from you, but now they're charging 4 cedis, 80 pesos. Now that's a 60 pesos increment. And so they're not happy about it. They're saying government should act because there are workers, and they're saying that, look, if you don't work on this, we'll also go to the market and increase the price of our goods and services.
Okay. Faustina Safo there with her experience on the trotro as well today. But in the Upper West region, however, the fares are yet to take effect. Here's Alaji Nuhu Mahama of the GPRTU in the region.
We are yet to meet at an aggressive to put certain measures in place so that when we come out with the new increment, drivers will comply with it.
So should we expect an increment during the course of the day?
No, tomorrow morning.
Why tomorrow morning?
Because we have just received the message and we have to work on it.
You heard Alhaji Mahama of the GPRTU in the Upper West region. Are you still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM? We'll take a quick break. When we return, Asin Central MP Kennedy Ejapon releases audio in which investigative journalist Anas Arimiyawa Nas is allegedly heard extorting money from a businessman.
And they don't even invest the money here.
They take it away. Okay, so now let's look for a way. I think that as for the money, they will trail it. I know.
We have details and tell you what the investigative journalist team has been saying in response to allegations of extortion. We're right back.
My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality. But I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302-633-988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go!
You're welcome back. And Benedict also has sports.
Yes, MFR, we're building up to the World Cup, which is 10 days away. There'll be live commentary here on Joy FM. So it's starting next week, Thursday. And as we build up to the World Cup, all the 32 teams, they have by close of day today to name their final squad. So every country is supposed to name 23-man squad. Well, Ghana is not in, so there is not no need to worry ahead about whether we are naming a squad or not. But for Egypt, Mohamed Salah has been named in the Egyptian squad for the World Cup despite his shoulder injury he suffered in the UEFA Champions League final. Also, the surprise coming from the camp of Germany is that Leroy Sané has not been included in the German squad. You remember he played for Manchester City last season. He picked the English PFA Young Player of the Year, played very, very well for the side, but the coach of the team feels that he's not good enough to be in the squad. We'll discuss that at 1 on the Joy Sports track. But back home, Asante Kotoko ended the first round of the Xylophone Cash Premier League on a good note with a 2-1 win over Aduana Stars. Now, Kotoko finished the first round in 4th position with 24 points, while Aduana, with 4 outstanding games, are 14th with 14 points. Well, there have been talks that Aduana's campaign in the Confederation Cup is affecting their league form. Their assistant coach, W.O. Tano, doesn't share the same view.
It's okay with us, with our tactics and our techniques, both on the African and the league. People are asking questions. We should decide where we want to have our focus. But I want to repeat it here again. Aduana Stars, for that matter, is the league champions, and we are going to defend it. That is our wish. Again, we are the only representatives of the nation in this country today. And we have vowed, the team Aduana has vowed, that we want to lift up the covenant of Ghana flag higher. So it is our expectations. The father is there, he's not giving chop money. The mother is there, he's still fighting for his children. Aduana wants to take the double if God gives us the chance.
All right, so that's W.O. Tano. He's assistant coach of Aduana Stars. So we review the first round of the Xylophone Cash Premier League. Now it's Xylophone Cash Premier League. You don't have to say Ghana Premier League. Yes, and also we'll talk about the World Cup squads. The teams that have confirmed theirs. Egypt have confirmed their squad as well as Germany. Almost all the teams, yeah. Okay. So we'll look at that at 1 on the Joy Sports
With
track.
live commentary here, no need to go to Russia, I bet you. Now, the rains have set in, and given the country's history, flood-prone areas are expected to be greatly affected. With the June 3 fire and flood disaster still fresh on the minds of many, Joy News Agenda this week will put the focus on flood-prone areas in some parts of the country. Our journalists have been finding out what has changed in such areas as the rainy season begins. We start off from Malam in the Gassouth Municipal Assembly with the story of 70-year-old Kwabna Denchi, who has lost thousands of cedis due to the constant flooding in the area. Jacqueline Johnson-Quay's report is read to you.
Meet Kwabna Denchi. He's been living here at Malam Junction for the past 50 years. Every rainy season represents days of worry for him. When the clouds form and the rains begin to pour, he and many others who live here begin to panic. This because they risk losing everything they have.
Since 1965, this building has been here. Before the arrival of Total Filling Station, it was I who wrote to the Ghana Highways Authority telling them they didn't do their work well because after the filling station, the first rains, it flooded here. And since then, I've not known peace. It has demolished so many things and damaged so many things. I'll be in the room sleeping when the water enters my room. Knee high. I used to have a beer bar. I employed 12 people. They are all gone.
All of this is about to change with the construction of a bigger storm drain at the Malam Junction. Though the project has not been completed, residents have started seeing improvements in the situation. Denchi was pleasantly surprised when he woke up after the recent downpour to find that the area is not flooded.
This year it has rained 3 times. The water passed the other side. It didn't come here. I'm sure this drain has solved the constant flooding problem. I'm grateful for that. I'm very excited and I thank the government. I will say a big thank you to them.
The rains won't stop. In fact, Accra will have heavier downpours in the days ahead. The people who live here are confident that the expanded drains can adequately manage the volume of water that flows through the area.
Because of the drainage, things have now calmed down. We are hoping that it will reduce considerably when we finish with the project.
That's Joy News Agenda. Jacqueline Johnson Square's report read to you. Now, Asin Central MP Kennedy Ejapong has released an audio recording in which investigative journalist Anas Aremeyaw Anas is allegedly heard extorting money from a businessman. The legislator had last week relied on one Hafiz Mohammed as his witness to back his claim the journalist extorts money from persons captured in his investigative work in order to take them out of the documentary. Hafiz Mohammed, who was the subject of investigations by the New Crusading Guide, where Anas is a deputy editor concerning a gold scam. He claimed he paid money to Anas, which led to the case against him being dismissed. Well, managing news editor of the New Crusading Guide, Abdul Malik Kwekubako, denies this claim. We'll hear from him, but take a listen to portions of the audio released by Asin Central MP.
Ghana, Suwa, you understand who? That's big money. 10, 15, 20 million in this country. People are sitting down. Nigerians are taking and are sitting down. They cannot do anything.
And they don't even invest the money here.
They take it away. Okay, so now let's look for a way out. I think that as for the money, they will trail it. I know, because Egbert is already at the bank. Egbert Fable Jr. Lawyer take toll on that. To see, Kudina, now what can 500 and something $1,000.
I can show you. I can take it to my bank.
No, so how much?
I can take it to my bank. It's about 75.
75,000.
75 drafting already. The first money he transferred $1,000.
I'm sure you're hearing some talk Kudina in there. It means that there's some Hausa in that tape. My Joy Online editor, Malik Dabu, joins me in studio to help translate portions of that audio where the discussion is held in Hausa. So what are they saying?
Yes, the portion he just asked was Kudina, the money, how much did you take? He was asking the guy he was having a conversation with. And the guy said, so he asked, how much did you take? You took $500 plus $1,000. And the guy said, no. He sent me 75,000. In fact, he sent me 195,000. That's the amount of money I have, not 500 plus 1,000.
Okay, interesting. I'm sure we'll also have some reactions to Mr. Ejapong's release of tapes. Malik, you tell us more about it.
Yeah, so this is what Kwekubako said when we're trying to get him to react to some of the contents of this tape. He said, I can't talk now, bro, because of where I am now. It's same old story, rubbish fit for the dustbin. Is there any evidence of payment of money to Anas to kill any case on the audio, any proof of extortion or blackmailing? I am forwarding to you the reports authored by Anas' relative to what you hear on the tape for your scrutiny. I will call when I am able to. And of course, there's also Egbert also mentioned, and Egbert's response. You want to, okay,
Joy News editor Araba Kumsin will give us that response.
Indeed, Egbert's response is on Facebook. It was put there a while ago. He says, my attention has been drawn to an audio tape going around in which my name is mentioned by Anas Aremeyaw Anas as following some money at a bank. Well, the background is that in 2009, one Hafiz of Hafred Security Services Limited was arrested for defrauding a Dubai company of $5.7 million in a gold scam. My services were retained as a lawyer by the duped company to ensure prosecution of Hafiz and his accomplices. Anas was the one who was engaged by the duped company to track down Hafiz and his accomplices, which he did. The audio going around is an interrogation of two or so of Hafiz's accomplices by Anas, which led to the arrest of Hafiz. Hafiz was subsequently prosecuted by the Attorney General at an Accra High Court presided over by Justice Charles Quist. The tape cannot, therefore, be evidence of any bribery. The screenshots here will serve as a useful guide to those who may want to Google the arrest of Hafiz, and the screenshots are attached on his Facebook
I'm
page.
sure this is not the last we're going to hear of this matter, but away from that, in football matches, a tired or weak player may just be substituted to boost the chances of their team. The same rules will now apply during the National Science and Maths Quiz set to be launched in Accra tomorrow. Organisers of the contest have been speaking about this. We can hear from Nana Ekuya Mensabons, who is the CEO.
So we are introducing substitution. So the analogy
while the competition is ongoing.
Yes.
Okay.
Compare that to a football match where at some point in time the coach decides that I need this kind of help.
Yeah.
And so substitutes one of the contestants.
Okay, but with the football, you have the opportunity to do it 3 times.
No, but with us, it's just once.
Okay.
And you must do it by the end of the problem of the day.
So that's Nana Mensah Bonsu, CEO of Primetime Media. Well, quiz mistress Dr. Elsie Effa Kaufman says the contestants will be impressed with her questions. She explains why.
Oh, this year is going to be exciting. From where I sit so far, it's been about gathering the questions, making sure they are of high enough quality, and I think the contestants are going to be impressed by the quality we are bringing this time.
They're not going to be hot. They're going to be impressed.
Oh, yes, they're going to be impressed.
I wonder how half-lives and titrations and question of the day will impress these students. But it will be live. You get details of it on Joy News on Multi TV. You do want to stay for that. That's it for the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Emefa Apau. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Have a good afternoon.